Hello fellow stackers, 365 here, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to give you 3 real life examples of places where I've tried to spend cash and they've either outright refused to accept it or it's been very difficult. Now in the first example I've got a video that I took at the time and I will play that now. I'm in Walton-on-Naze, which is a place in the UK by the coast, coming for the day with my family. And every single pen display has been sealed over. You can see they've all got these covers on them. It says please pay. It says please pay by my permit app, so you can't get into the cash way of paying, so you have to log into the app and pay for however long you want to stay. But the only problem we have is there's no signal here. So I've just been in the car park for 35 minutes, walking around trying to get signal, trying to download the app, trying to log into the website, just to be able to pay for my parking. So as you can see from that video, they've made it impossible to pay for this particular car park using cash. Every single cash machine in the car park had that cover over it, and the only way of paying for your parking was to download the app or go on the website and type in your card details and do it that way. But as you can see, the problem was that there wasn't any signal in that car park. So there was a lot of people walking away from the car park, leaving their car without a ticket on. Now it's okay if there's a couple of you there because one of you can wait by the car. So if a ticket warden or someone came along, you can explain that you're trying to pay for the parking. But there were some people that were actually having to leave their cars unattended in the car park with no ticket on it and walk a good 500 yards down the road just to get signal to download the app. Now I appreciate some people might have been to this car park before, so they would have prepaid when they arrived, or they would already have the app downloaded on their phones, so it was a little bit easier. But for me, I hadn't been to this particular car park in the past. I had cash on me. I'd made sure I'd got a few pound coins and 50p's ready to pay for a pay and display car park. Because quite often when you go to these car parks, you do get the choice. You get the choice whether to download the app and pay via the app, or use the machine and get a physical sticker to put on the windscreen and put some cash in, whereas this car park was completely cashless. So you can already see that it's got to a stage now where, I've mentioned it in previous videos, where you can't even go to the train station and pay in cash for tickets because a lot of the kiosks are closed and you have to use the machines. This is another prime example of how they're trying to phase out cash. The banks are making it very difficult for people to pay in cash. Like I've spoken about before on this channel, if you're a small business or any business and you try and pay money into the bank, there's a small fee for doing that. And also if you want to withdraw money to put in your tills as change, there's also a fee for that. So it's just pushing people, especially like I said, smaller businesses that can't afford to have these extra fees added to their outgoings. It's forcing them to go to a place where they have to only offer card. So again, this is a prime example of how the government and the Bank of England and all the rest of it are trying to push us into the CBDC way of thinking, where you pay for everything using cards and digital payments. Now there's a couple of other examples. The second example was when I went to the dentist a couple of weeks ago. I had some work done on my teeth. Well, I literally just got them cleaned. And when I came to pay, I had some cash on me and I said, do you take some cash? And the woman looked really shocked. She said, oh yeah, we do, but I haven't done it for a while. And she'd almost looked a little bit flustered. She was looking around, trying to find this small cash box that had the change in it. In the end, she had to get a chair out to stand on the chair to reach this high cupboard at the back where this small cash box was that had some change in and where she could write a receipt up and all the rest of it. So again, it just showed me that they're trying to encourage people to pay by card. The card machine reader was just there on the side. There was an article out a few months ago, it might have even been last year, where I think it was Starbucks had put notices up outside one of their shops. There was a sign saying that as of next week or next month or whatever it was, we'll no longer be accepting cash at this branch, we'll be going completely cashless. And there was a big uproar, there was a big Facebook petition and everyone was signing it, and in the end they actually withdrew that statement. They actually announced that Starbucks officially announced that branch wasn't going to go cashless, and that was because the people got behind it and they said, no, we don't want to have a branch where we haven't got the option to pay with with card only, sorry. And like I said, there was a big movement about it on Facebook, and that is a prime example of where power to the people. And I think the problem is, because we are using cards because it's more accessible, we're basically telling the Bank of England and the government that we don't want to use cash anymore. Cash is pointless. It's not convenient for us to carry cash. And it is just playing to their narrative and their stats when they announce these things, saying that the reason we're going to go to CBDCs is because no one's using cash. Cash is only used 20% of all transactions, or whatever statistics they get from basically forcing businesses to not accept cash by charging them a fee to withdraw and to pay it in the first place. So yeah, it's really frustrating that we aren't really kicking back as much as I would like. I always carry cash around. I've said it before on this channel. I take a card with me as backup because that's just the world we're in now, where some places like that car park, you physically can't pay with cash, and there's nowhere else for miles around to park. It was the only car park in the area, so you haven't got options. So sometimes you are forced to use a card. So I always do carry a card around with me, but the majority of my purchases are made with cash, and that is because I just love having physical cash in my hand. It's a lot harder to part with cash because, if you, like I said before, if you've got a £20 note and you want a drink, it's a lot easier to say, no, I'll wait till I get home, I'm not going to break into a £20 note, than if you walk into a shop and you buy a drink and you dip with your card. So yeah, it does make you spend a lot more freely when you are just using your card, and also because you're not physically handing something over, you're not physically handing over cash, it's a lot easier to do when you're just dipping a card on a machine and you're not actually seeing the cash leave your possession and be exchanged for goods. So really frustrating. And like I said, it just plays into the narrative that the Bank of England and the government want, and that is to kind of enforce their stats and show how many people aren't using cash anymore. Now, the third example I've got was when I went to a wedding, and again, this was a couple of weeks ago, and it was a wedding reception, and it was in a big marquee in a field, and I had taken cash with me. I took like £100 with me because me and my partner was there for the evening. And I thought, surely they're going to take cash. We're in the middle of a field. The signal's not going to be fantastic for card readers and all the rest of it. So I took cash, thought I'd be absolutely fine. Got there and they said that they hadn't got much cash on site to be able to take cash. And I said, well, that's all I've got. I've only got cash. So they actually agreed to accept my cash, but they didn't have the correct change. They only had pound coins, didn't have anything smaller than pound coins in their kind of mini till that they had. So whenever I went to buy a drink, I think the drinks I were buying, it was quite expensive. The bottles of drink were like £4.50 or whatever it was. And every time I went up to buy a drink, they were only charging me £4 because they didn't have the change to give me 50p back. So whenever I was going up to buy another bottle of Peroni or whatever it was I was drinking, I think it was Peroni, they were charging me £4 because they said, look, we haven't got anything smaller than pound coins to give you in return. So it worked out in my favour in the end because I was getting every single drink for 50p less. But at the same time, it was just frustrating to see so many people not paying with cash. I didn't see a single other person pay with cash. It was almost like they were getting frustrated because every time they saw me go to the bar, they had to scurry around and find their little box to put the cash in and get my change out, and everyone else was just doop doop. And you notice it when you go to any shop now, whenever you go to, whether it's buying food or clothes, electronics, whatever it is you buy, when you walk into a shop and you buy something, automatically the cashier puts the card machine out towards you. You notice it everywhere you go. You walk up and they actually look shocked if you go to pay with cash. They actually sort of have the card machine in their hand ready for you to touch your card in it and actually sort of, oh, put it down and cash, and it's almost like a shock to them. And it's a real shame because, like I said, I always carry cash because I'm trying to kind of increase the stats in the cash favour. So do let me know what you think about this video. Are you like me and you're still trying to pay with cash and you're still carrying cash around, or have you given up taking cash with you on shopping trips and all the rest of it because of how difficult it is to spend? Like I said, I'll continue to to try and spend cash, because my goal is to stay away from CBDCs as long as possible. Because like I've said before, and I don't want to go into all the ins and outs of the negatives behind CBDCs, but like I've said before, I do think that we're going to see a huge increase in inflation when CBDCs are released, due to the amount of incentives that I see people being offered to encourage people to download the app. Download the app and you get 50 digital pounds, or whatever the currency they decide to call it. So I do see a huge increase in inflation due to, like I said, the incentives that are going to be handed out, and also it's the control side of things that I don't like when it comes to CBDCs. I don't like the idea of them being able to have control over where you spend your money, limit how much you spend in, potentially how much you spend in certain economies and all the rest of it. And like I've said before, I've explained how CBDCs work. When you pay with your card, with a Visa card or debit card or credit card, whatever it may be, at the end of the day, the transaction communicates with the Bank of England, and it's very anonymous what you're actually buying, because all the transactions are all exchanged at the same time at the end of every single day. So it's very hard for the Bank of England to actually see exactly what you're spending your money on, the government see exactly what you're spending your money on, all the rest of it. Whereas with CBDCs, it's an instant payment. It doesn't kind of do an IOU and then the actual money leaves your bank account properly at the end of the day. It actually leaves instantly, so therefore it trails exactly where you're spending your money, GPS coordinates, what you're buying and all the rest of it. So yeah, like I said, I don't want to go too into the ins and outs of CBDCs in this particular video, because the video is already over 10 minutes long, but I just wanted to give you a few real life examples of how it's becoming even more difficult to spend cash. So I would be very interested to hear your thoughts. How difficult is it for you to spend cash, and have you just completely given up spending cash altogether, and do you just play with card all the time? And also I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on CBDCs. Do you see no concerns of it? Are you not worried at all? Or do you have genuine concerns about your privacy, the control, and also the inflation going through the roof when they start pumping out these digital currencies? Because don't forget, it's going to be even easier for them to print money. Now they actually have to print physical money. They actually have to roll out money from a machine, whereas once they've actually got digital currencies in full swing, it will literally just be on a computer, they can type away and there'll be more digital currency released into the world. And that is why I will continue to stack precious metals, because you can't print this stuff. You can't increase the total supply of silver. You can't increase the total supply of gold. So like I said, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for all the support, and I hope you have a very nice day.